like to know, I mean, we'd like to work toward a deadline. So can you give me a date by which you'd like to ensure the Atlanta VA is fully staffed?
Well, Senator, I think you know that that's not something I can give you, but I'd be happy to do a health fair with you, and I'd come down and you and I could recruit these workers.
Well, I tell you what, why don't you...
I'd be happy. I mean, we'd be happy to do. I'm not trying to be funny here.
I want to do this. I'd love to work with you. I'd love to work with you to make sure we recruit those healthcare workers. But what I'd also like you to do is to get with your staff, get with the VISN, get with the leadership at the Atlanta VA, and come back to me and the subcommittee with a date by which you believe you can fill those open positions. Can you do that?
Well, I would definitely get the information to see what their goals and targets are.
Well, we got to have a goal.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So we'll get with that and we'll see what we can do.
You'll come back with a date?
We'll see. Well, I'm not sure we'll get a date. I'll have to talk to Atlanta. I mean, we'll see what their actual recruitment is. Because, I mean...
In a tense Senate budget hearing, Senator Jon Ossoff, DG, pressed VA officials on their FY 2026 budget request, uncovering inconsistencies and missing answers about staffing levels and billions in proposed cuts to medical services. The exchange revealed a troubling lack of transparency from the Department of Veterans Affairs, raising critical questions about how veterans' care will be affected and whether lawmakers are being given the information they need to make sound funding decisions.
Atlanta. Recent Inspector General report focused on Atlanta. This is a June 12th report on staffing shortages, among other issues. Now, and I think you know this, Mr. Secretary, for years, the wait times at the VA Medical Center in Atlanta have been driven in large part by staffing shortages. I've heard it from the leadership there year after year. This Inspector General report found, as of June 12th, 208 vacancies at the Atlanta VA, including 67 provider, 42 registered nurse, 32 licensed practical nurse, 49 medical support assistant, and 18 pharmacist positions short at the Atlanta VA. What is your goal, the date that you'd like to bring the Atlanta VA up to full staffing, please?
To hire them all. If you got any...
And by when is my question?
As soon as possible. I mean, there's no delay here in this. This is and I think if we would also look at the Atlanta market as well in healthcare, we'd also see other at Piedmont, also at Northside, also at the St. Joe's and others having similar shortages in their staffing. Atlanta is a market, like a lot of other markets, in which healthcare, especially CNAs, LPNs, or RNs, are in great demand. They're the ones that are controlling the market. So is doctors as well.
And the wait times, as you know, in Atlanta are a particular issue. Of course, there are wait times at other facilities as well. But I appreciate your ambition.
There's nothing stopping.
I appreciate the ambition of as soon as possible. But I'd like to know. I mean, we'd like to work toward a deadline. So can you give me a date by which you'd like to ensure the Atlanta VA is fully staffed?
Well, Senator, I think you know that that's not something I can give you, but I'd be happy to do a health fair with you, and I'd come down and you and I could recruit these workers.
Well, I tell you what, why don't you...
I'd be happy. I mean, we'd be happy to do. I'm not trying to be funny here.
I
want to do this.
I'd love to work with you. I'd love to work with you to make sure we recruit those healthcare workers. But what I'd also like you to do is to get with your staff, get with the VISN, get with the leadership at the Atlanta VA, and come back to me and the subcommittee with a date by which you believe you can fill those open positions. Can you do that?
Well, I would definitely get the information to see what their goals and targets are.
Well, we got to have a goal.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So we'll get with that and we'll see what we can do.
You'll come back with a date?
We'll see. Well, I'm not sure we'll get a date. I'll have to talk to Atlanta. I mean, we'll see what their actual recruitment is. Because, I mean, again...
That's what I'm saying. I want you to talk to the leadership in Atlanta. I want you to talk to the VISN. I want to talk to your staff. And I want you to present me and the subcommittee with a date by which you think it's feasible to fill those spots.
I'll be happy to present you a plan, but also you're also setting up a date in which I understand you're trying to do, to set up a date that may or may not be capable, because you couldn't get the same answer from Northside CEO or Piedmont CEO or anyone else.
I just know that deadline-driven work...
I agree with you completely.
...is often the most efficient and determined work, and I want something that's fair to hold you accountable to. So will you get a target date?
We'll work together to see where it's at right now. I'm not going to play the game. Okay.
What game?
Because it's not a game. Because there's no other facility in the world that will say by X date we're going to definitely have people hired.
I didn't say you definitely. I'm looking for a goal. You don't think leadership at other healthcare facilities set goals for when they're going to fill open medical slots?
I think they fill them as quickly as they possibly can. We hire over 1,000 people.
Okay. So you will not present a target.
I would like to have them filled by the end of the fiscal year. That'd be great.
By the end.
Now, will it be filled? I'm not going to say they'll be filled because there's a lot of other factors in there that I can't control.
Mr. Secretary, and I know we're belaboring this, Mr. Chairman, but this isn't a gotcha. What I'm saying, this is just good management practice. I just want to know. I want to know when you believe it can be done. Well, I tell you what. Let's put it that way.
Hopefully.
No, you don't need to tell me right now. I'm not even trying to put. Why don't you talk to the VISN, talk to the facility, talk to your staff, and come back and let me know by when you think it can be done. Will you do that?
I look forward to the conversation. Yeah, I look forward to the conversation.
Will you let me
You're
know?
asking for me an answer that I can't give you because I've not talked to the other people.
I'm not asking for the date. I'm asking if you can give me a target.
Yes, I can get. We can look toward giving you a target. Yes.
Okay, that's all I needed on Atlanta, Mr. Secretary. Thank you.
Senator Jon Ossoff began his questioning with precision, establishing the baseline. The Department of Veterans Affairs is requesting a massive $441.2 billion budget for fiscal year 2026. But Ossoff quickly zeroed in on a key issue, the medical services budget, which is almost entirely about personnel. After all, medical services spending isn't just abstract numbers. It directly translates into doctors, nurses, and frontline staff who care for veterans. When Ossoff asked Secretary Collins how many personnel the VA intends to employ through this budget, Collins answered 396,000 staff. That seems straightforward enough. But when Ossoff pressed for more detail, how many physicians, how many dentists, how many nurses, Collins faltered. He eventually acknowledged roughly 28,868 physicians and around 91,000 nurses. But he lacked the most up-to-date staffing targets for FY 2026. Ossoff pointed out that in the FY 2025 request, the VA clearly specified 25,099 physicians. Why then, in the current year, is that level of detail absent? This, Ossoff stressed, is precisely the kind of information Congress is supposed to receive in advance of these hearings. The real flashpoint came when Ossoff turned to the VA's own 26-page PowerPoint presentation, which he said explicitly lists a $17 to $18 billion cut to medical services. If medical services spending is largely personnel, then where are those cuts coming from? Ossoff asked the blunt question. On everyone's mind, who is getting fired to pay for it? Instead of offering specifics, Secretary Collins repeated that more information will be provided later this week. He tried to frame the budget not as a cut, but as an adjustment to community care, insisting that the overall VA budget actually grew by $24 billion. But Ossoff wasn't buying it. Numbers on paper may show growth overall, but the medical services line item tells a different story, and it's that line item that funds the doctors, nurses, and staff who directly treat veterans. This clash highlighted a deeper issue. Congress is being asked to approve a multi-hundred billion-dollar budget without receiving the granular data that should come standard. Ossoff even raised the possibility that the committee may need to reconvene once the VA finally provides the full numbers, underscoring the seriousness of the gap. The stakes here are enormous. If the VA is indeed planning a $17 to $18 billion reduction in medical services, it could mean slower care, fewer providers, and longer wait times for veterans. At the very least, lawmakers and the public deserve clarity on what exactly is being cut. Is it doctors, dentists, nurses, administrative staff? Without answers, trust in the VA's stewardship of taxpayer dollars and its care for veterans comes into question. Ossoff's persistence shows a commitment to accountability, but it also exposes how the VA may be struggling to justify its own numbers. For veterans and their families who depend on reliable, timely, and high-quality care, the lack of transparency is deeply concerning. Senator Ossoff's questioning cut through the surface and exposed the inconsistencies in the VA's budget presentation. With billions on the line and the well-being of veterans at stake, this exchange is a reminder that oversight isn't just a formality, it's essential. Until the VA provides clear, specific staffing plans, the cloud of uncertainty remains. Veterans deserve better than unanswered questions, and Congress must hold the department accountable.